I've run these exact boots for the last 3 years. And from airsoft, hiking, a 3,000-meter summit, dog shit, cow shit, rain, and snow, they've been in all of it. And if you want a good budget boot for hiking or whatever else, these are still the ones I'd pick right now. Now again, these are the Salomon Quest Rove. They cost about $100. And let's get into the 3-year review with all the good, the bad, and the stuff that actually matters when picking a boot for you. But why do we need boots for airsoft in the first place? Well, first of all, grip on uneven terrain. Second of all, ankle support on uneven terrain. And third of all, actually running sneakers with camel clothes is super gay. But that's something that you fog fanboys just don't like to talk about. And I say that as a fog fanboy. Now, most boot reviews only go over the span of about 1 week. And that doesn't tell you anything, because a boot that's good on day 1 but falls apart after 6 months is worth nothing. Today, I will share my 3-year experience with these, including my experience with other boots as well. The full name of these is the Salomon Quest Rove GTX. The GTX here stands for Gore-Tex. You can even see it right here. Come on, focus here, fuck. It says Gore-Tex right here. And you'd think these are pretty waterproof. I thought that too, but they're not. When I did my first review of these 3 years ago, I said they were waterproof. And a lot of people told me that they will not. The waterproofing wears out. And they were right. 3 years later, and these things get your feet wet like super fast. But you shouldn't buy these for the waterproofing. And to be honest, I don't really care about that with these boots, because I care for their other qualities. They're super lightweight, super comfortable after you break them in, and super breathable. But what exactly makes them light, breathable, and super comfortable? Well, they almost feel like sneakers, from how they are designed, how they sit on your foot, and their overall material, and again, design. Obviously, every shoe is comfortable after you break it in, but compared to other boots I've had and have, these are just super comfortable. Especially if you want to go super fast, you can obviously just not use the hooks on the top right here and just tie your laces like this. And that way you have entered sneaker mode, to where you actually feel like you're just wearing sneakers or low-cut shoes. Big boots lock your ankle in almost a cast-like structure. And while this is nice for longer rucks or overall just not breaking your ankles, for airsoft, this is more a con than a pro, because that way you're slower when running. It's more uncomfortable to kneel down or get into awkward shooting positions behind cover. And overall, it just decreases comfort and probably also breathability. Another cool feature is that they have a really thin sole. Now, I'll get to this in a second, but while this is a downside for longer rucks, for airsoft this is really cool. Number one, again, if you have a thinner sole, you're more secure on the ground. You feel more comfortable making like fast movements or shifting your weight on each foot when again popping in and out of cover. And this also allows you to feel every crevice in the floor when doing CQB. And while this is super GBRS goober nerd shit, actually having more feel for the ground makes it easier for you to move more quietly, making it easier for you to flank your enemies. Now, I mentioned that I owned a couple of boots before them. I own several different Salomons, Lowas, and I've actually worn the Bundeswehr shoes, both the brown light ones and the black heavier ones. For those that haven't catched on by now, I was the ones in the military. And I have to say, heavier boots like the ones I was issued in the Bundeswehr are great for longer marches or overall, again, ankle stability. But on the airsoft field or just when you need more comfort or speed, these are very limited in their capabilities. And while Lowa boots are probably great as well, they just do not fit my foot size or foot shape that well. And I prefer Lowas, if at all, in the winter where I wear thicker socks. Salomons in general, but especially these, just fit super snug to my feet. And it genuinely feels super comfortable. I cannot get over how comfortable these things actually are. But before I keep on glazing this shoe right here, I need to re-emphasize that this is neither the toughest, the tallest, or the best in air quotes here, boot on the market. It is simply the best one for the job that most of us need it for, which is again, casual hiking or airsoft. And the real skill here isn't finding the best boot, but finding the boot that fits your needs best. For me, that is this boot right here. If your opinion differs on this, please let me know down in the comments. But what are the actual downsides with this? Now, this boot doesn't have a lot of downsides, but oh boy, the ones that it does have, if they do come to shine, they shine like the sun. I talked about the waterproofing. If that is not a problem for you, then great, me neither. But here's the thing that you cannot ignore. For long and intense rucks, do your feet and your mental sanity a favor and do not use these. Again, a low sole and a relatively low overall ankle support because of the lightweight design makes these less than suboptimal for such a long trip. Now, before I actually joined the military a couple years ago, I made a 40-kilometer one-day ruck march with a couple of my friends. with a lot of weight on my back because we plan to sleep outside. And let me tell you, after kilometer, I think 25, my Achilles tendon and overall my ankles started hurting like hell. On the last 10 kilometers, I even had to take regular breaks, I think like in the 10 to 20 minute time frame, to actually relax my feet because it genuinely felt like my tendons would like tear off. Funnily enough, after the Bundeswehr, we did another multi-day tour, just with less kilometers per day and an overall just more relaxed pace and just less weight because I now knew what gear to pack, but I'm getting off topic here. And they were fine, but again, more relaxed pace, less weight, and overall less walking. So to sum this up, long rocks, don't. Speaking of the thin sole, for the last 3 years, these have been holding up surprisingly fine. As you can see, obviously there's some wear and tear on these because again, this has been used for 3 years, but I think they have been holding up fine. Now, I think we're kind of getting into the time frame where I need to replace these, but for $100, that's not a big problem, right? But in all fairness, regarding long tours, there are like freaks of nature doing multi-day mountain crossings with these little trekking sneaker shoes. So maybe it's just a skill issue on my side. Let me know what you think about this down in the comments, please. I'm kind of insecure about that now. Now that I think about it, yeah, maybe I am just a fucking weakling. But you cannot think of your shoe as a singular item. Everything works in a system. And with your shoes, you also need to consider your socks. So let's quickly go over some quality of life improvements with these shoes. Merino wool socks. If you're not using merino wool for like outdoor activities, hiking, airsoft, bro, what are you doing? Quit right now. I'm just kidding, just buy merino wool. I personally recommend Danish Endurance. I've been using their socks for a while now, also in the military again, and I cannot recommend them enough. Now that we have the base covered, let's talk about something that a lot of people might actually miss. And I've recently talked to a friend online about this again, where she had the issues that her laces would untie herself after some time. And I mentioned that I replaced my laces on these boots right here. So if you look at the original pictures, you can see that the boots laces are actually like more like a light brown color, not cover. And these ones are more like dark brown with a little pattern on them. Yeah, so funny story actually. I was in a outdoor like gear or clothes store and I saw these laces and I was like, hey, they look cool. So I bought them. And then when replacing them, I noticed that because of the material being different, I would say it's less waterproof. I don't know how to describe that really. The overall material has more friction on itself. They hold better than the original laces. My friend, who actually has the same boots, can approve of this. When we are out and about, he has to retie his laces at least once a day because the laces that come with these shoes don't have that much friction on them, to be honest. But again, I bought these 3 years ago. That might have changed. Let me know. The easy fix for like $10 is just replacing them, and you can get wild here. I chose brown. I think it looks pretty cool, but you can buy anything, bro. Buy pink shoelaces for all you want, bro. Pop off, queen. So 3 years, a lot of rock marches, replaced laces, and one honest verdict. While they're not made for long rocks and also not waterproof anymore, they are still the shoes that I will replace this pair with probably tomorrow. Yeah, I think I need to order new ones actually. They're not super waterproof or super supportive for long and hard rocks, but they're super light, breathable, and comfortable, making them perfect, again, for everyday use, airsoft, or just normal hiking. I use them almost every day. Therefore, I think it's safe to say that these boots are kind of like the Honda Civics of shoes. They're cheap, look good, refuse to die, and overall just work great. Now, again, I have a lot of experience with boots. From the Bundeswehr to my privately owned ones, I would say I have a wide variety of experience with boots. However, I can impossibly, never know everything about boots. So your experience actually matters, not just for me to learn more, but also for the other viewers trying to make a purchasing decision here to make said decision. So please leave a comment down below to give your advice or opinion on this. And until we see each other next time, love.